Alright friends, it's T-Man. We're going to do a reaction video again today of Jason Blaha, the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness slave himself. Blaha. So, Blaha is doing an interesting video on Dorian Yates. Blaha says, Dorian Yates did not do just one set per exercise. No, why would he do one set per exercise? That makes no sense. He's a bodybuilder.
Dorian Yates did not do only one set to failure. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. You know, this is one of those things to where...
Dorian Yates did specific workouts. Sometimes he'd work out a couple days in a row, and sometimes he'd take an entire week off and move for an adaptation. It's really specific in his training, what he was doing, what he was shooting for. Most likely, as a bodybuilder, he knows sarcoplasmic, myofibrillar growth, adaptation, bunch of stuff. Blaha doesn't know any of these things.
So much myth and legend and things have been repeated because these stories get told coming back from the Menzer era, then the Dorian Yates era, and even stuff that Dorian says, you know, in later...
Dorian Yates is alive now, and he's telling his story. What are you talking about?
Interviews, and people forget all this stuff was documented 25 years ago, 20 years ago, okay? So this stuff was all in the magazines and the interviews and everything way back when I was younger. Like, look, I was a Dorian Yates fan. I mean, seeing him actually, even on ESPN and seeing the stuff there kind of inspired me later on to even get into lifting. Was one of the things that inspired me because he just looked crazy jacked when I was a young man, right? Because again, I'm about to be 48 years.
Yeah, I remember his magazines. I remember Dorian Yates, and I don't know about Blaha. Blaha's 10 years behind me, so how the fuck would he ever know Dorian Yates? I was there when Lee Haney, his magazines came out. I was already, I don't know, how old was I past my late teens already. How old was Blaha? 10 years old? What the fuck would he know?
Old. So what people forget is when Dorian says one set, he's only talking about sets to failure or beyond. He's only counting that. He counted everything else as warm-ups. And this is why this stuff gets ridiculous, because keeping in mind what Dorian calls a warm-up, most people would consider to be an all-out, balls to the walls, crazy, insane set.
All right, let's find out what Dorian Yates did exactly. Let's find out.
Breaking.
Here's Dorian Yates with Dave.
Down the muscle with maximum weights and then recovering.
Absolutely, you got 3 stages. You got the training, which is the stimulus. If it's harder than your last workout, that's the stimulus. Then what comes after the stimulus, which is actually a breakdown, is actually damaging, it's breaking down, yeah? Then your body needs to recover. So for this, you need time, you need rest, you need sleep, you need nutrition. After you've recovered, you can overcompensate or you can grow.
Yeah. After you've recovered, meaning you're no longer damaged, your body is not damaged, you can grow. In other words, after the damaging cycle and the satellite cells, they donate their nuclei to that domain. Now they can hypertrophy. That's when they grow at the end of the cycle. That's when they grow. They don't grow during that cycle. They grow after the cycle.
So all those factors need to be in place. First of all, you need to train hard enough. Most people don't do that. Let's be honest, most people don't do that. Then you need to have enough time in between those workouts for your body to recover and grow. So
that's right, and most people, they don't do that. See what I mean? They don't do that.
Anyone that trains legs with me, they will not be able to walk properly for 4 or 5 days because the legs will be hurting. So what's the point to go and train again while the muscle's still damaged? It's still sore. It's telling you it's still sore. So you probably need to leave it 7 or 8 days before you go back and hit it again. I remember there was this one guy in the gym.
What did Dorian Yates just say? He said, the legs are sore for more than 4 days. Yeah, that means he really got a good adaptation. So you cannot train those legs for more than after 7 or 8 days. Get it? Fucking people are so dumb out there. They don't understand anything. They're really dumb. Huh. It's kind of obvious you're going off your instincts. He reached an adaptation. He got an adaptation. He was damaged for many days. And he realized he had to recover, he had to grow. And he couldn't come back to train those legs again. Of course not. They will not break again. The muscle fiber will not break again until it is completely repaired and remodeled. And then you have to work it harder than the last time. Well, just pretty hard. That's the point of doing a full upper and a full lower on the day. That's the point. Get that damage. Christ. So there you go. It just proved this. See that?
He had a good physique. I think he competed in NABA Mr. Universe or something. He had a good physique. But he kept pestering me about drugs, about the secret. And I told him whatever I know. I'm like, this is it. And he's like, no, surely not. You know? I said, oh, okay. You really want to know the secret? He's like, yeah, man. I fucking keep asking you. Tell him what's the secret. I said, all right. Meet me at 11 o'clock on Friday. We're training legs together. I'll show you the secret. So this guy, by the end of the workout, he was vomiting. He was gray, he was green, he was multicolored. And after I left the gym, he still couldn't breathe properly. And he was talking to the guys at the gym.
Right.
And he said, you know what? If that's what it takes to be Mr. Olympia, I don't want to fucking be Mr. Olympia.
There you go, man. Let's go back to Blaha. Blaha doesn't know what he's talking about. He never does.
All this stuff was documented 25 years. Get into lifting was one of the things that inspired me because he just looked crazy jacked when I was a young man, right? Because again, I'm about to be 48 years old. So what people forget is when Dorian says one set, he's only talking about sets to failure.
Hold on, we saw this already.
So that's the problem. Set. Okay? So that's the problem. Right? Dorian Yates' quote unquote warm-up sets were more intense than.
No, they weren't, man. He was shooting for an adaptation. It's kind of obvious. If you're sore for 4 days, what does it say in science? It says in science, you're going to be sore for what? For 4 days. That's the part where it tells you you've reached an adaptation. You actually got a level of damage in your muscle fibers. They're sore for the first 4 days. And after that, they're going through recovery and a repair and a remodeling, and then they go through a growth period. So they're not ready to be broken down again until the 7th or 8th day as an experienced lifter. Even if you are on steroids, you need to get an adaptation or you will not build any muscle. Get it? And here's the problem. A lot of you, these fucking lifters like Blaha, all they do is concentric work. Concentric work is not associated with muscle building. Everybody in the gym is doing concentric. They think they're so cool. They're like, I'm doing full range. Meanwhile, you're just fucking doing concentric exercises. You're not even focused on the eccentric whatsoever because you're so busy pushing the weight. You want to push the weight. You want to pump the weight by pumping. Pushing and pumping. Man, that is just ridiculous. And you're eating an artificial diet called carbohydrates. So what are you doing there exactly? Nothing. You're doing nothing. You're getting better at moving these weights, and you're pumping glycogen in your muscle. You understand me? That is ridiculous. To build a bodybuilding is mostly eccentric work, and we're focused on getting an adaptation, doing eccentric exercise. We are not focused on concentric. We are not going to a gym because, hi man, I want to get good at pushing this bench press up in the up direction. I want to get so good at pushing it upward. No, man. That's not the goal. The goal is to damage the muscle fibers in the eccentric form. You understand me? And then grow them bigger and stronger and come back. That's the whole point of bodybuilding. So you get some ultrastructural muscle damage so that you get architectural and these changes architecturally in your body. That's the whole point. Like these kids, they looked over at me yesterday and they were there on the bench press and I was already there for 3 hours working out. And they were next to me. I was near the dumbbell rack and they were there by the Smith machine. And they were like, oh, and I can hear them whispering steroids, this and that, whatever. And they're like, yeah, you know, everybody has the special exercise to build muscle. Yeah, it's not a special exercise. It's the eccentric exercise that damages the muscle fibers. And then it needs to go through a repair and a remodeling and a building phase. That's the whole point. If you're going to the gym and people are telling you you're building muscle, doing concentric movements, then what are you building? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. That isn't myofibrillar hypertrophy. Get it, dude? Christ.
Most pro bodybuilders' actual work sets were. So we need a context for that.
Most pro bodybuilders like Blaha, they all do concentric movements. Look at his exercises. His body is not changing. Want to know why it's not changing? Because he does concentric work. That is not associated with ultrastructural changes in the body, bro. Get it? Yeah. So I don't know, Blaha, what planet he's from or what planet you fucking people out there are from listening to this video on his channel, whatever the fuck. All you are just as stupid as your coach Blaha.
This stuff got filmed. It got discussed. People saw him train. Okay, everyone knew what he did. It's not like it.
He was making an exhibition videos, fucking. He was filming shit. We saw his videos training, him screaming and yelling. That was just ridiculous shit. You think he trained like that every day?
It was a big secret where people didn't see what was going on. So let me be clear. What I remember was the
what do you remember, Blaha? Look at Blaha. He just pushes the weight up. Look.
Barbell rows.
Throw it. See, throw it in the air. Throw it up in the air. But watch now.
And so
he brings it down.
Here.
Look how much he brings it down. Me, I don't bring it that far up the dumbbell. I don't bring it that far up. I bring it up, but I let it drag my arm down the weight. The point of doing this row really heavy is so that you can drag it. You allow the muscle to drag. It has to drag the muscle in the eccentric portion so that it can cause micro injuries. You want micro injuries to the muscle when it drags and pulls downward consistently. Rapid firing. None of this, I gotta throw the weight up in the air and then bring it down softly. Throw it up in the air, bring it down softly. Throw it up in the air. Yeah, whatever.
Here's how he would start a day off. Like
Look at
Dorian would do like 4 exercises, right? He would do 3 to 4 exercises, usually 4 exercises for a muscle group in a week, right? So everyone's like, oh yes, that's 3 or 4 sets. Well, he would call it sets, but take his barbell rows. He was famous for those crazy heavy barbell rows that he did with strict form. Remember those Yates rows with the underhand grip and the straps? You guys remember the pictures or videos of how much weight he had on the bar? Keeping in mind, if he didn't reach failure, he counted it as a warm-up set. Keeping in mind also, all the data we have shows that being 4 or 5 reps from failure will still produce muscle growth. Okay, there's your content.
Again, 4 or 5 reps from failure will produce muscle growth. No, the whole point in an adaptation, if you're failing, the reason why you're failing is because you're doing eccentric work and the muscle is failing because it's reached a level of failure because it cannot move anymore. There's so much damage there. That's the whole point. You understand? But if you're an endurance athlete doing concentric exercises and failing at at concentric movements, then it's just fatigue. You got exhausted. That's dumb. I can't even move. I work my body to the point, my upper body to the point where I can't move the weight anymore. It won't allow me to do any more eccentric work. That's the whole point. You have to reach a level of where it cannot do any more eccentric work. That's how you know you received enough damage. And you can kind of feel this tearing in the muscle. You can kind of feel it. It's a sense you're working on your senses. Your senses are telling you there's a level of damage there now, and I just can't work this anymore. Yeah. It's really difficult. So when you're doing a full upper body, it's an overworking of those muscles. The full upper body will allow you to work all the muscle groups. So eventually they'll all fail. So you start with chest, back, the big muscles, chest, back, and then you move to shoulders, arms, forearms, and whatever, yada, 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 until it completely fails out. You can't do anymore. You're done. I mean, I can't even row anymore. Like there comes to a point where I'm rowing, I can't row. There's a point where it comes to benching, I cannot bench anymore because most of the benching is eccentric and it's dead, the muscle. That's it. Then I allow it. The rest of the week to repair, remodel, grow. I feed it, yada yada yada. That's it.
X. All right, so he would say my 10
But if you're getting growth doing concentric movements in the gym, if you're getting growth with these reps, then that's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy.
max was about 405, right? 4 plates per side.
Look at him. He brought the weight all the way to his forehead. What's the purpose? Because you're pumping? You're pumping. What the fuck?
On a barbell row. And he did them fairly strict. All right, let that sink in. So what was his warm-up sets? Well, if it was his 10.
Look, he brings it right there. He doesn't, the rotation of your shoulders, this weight should be dragging against your bicep. That's the whole point. It should be dragging.
10 rep max, he could get 10 reps before he had to cheat or rest.
Again, these are concentric pumping. He's pumping again. He's man, this is ridiculous.
Pause. He would do 3 sets of 8 with 405. Okay, now step back for a moment. I'll let that sink in for everyone who's thinking Dorian did low volume. Okay, stop.
I know exactly what Dorian Yates was doing, okay?
Stop and think about that. It's his 10 rep max. He could do 10 reps of 405, so he would do 3 sets of 8 to warm up. Then he would go for the all-out set. Now, what would his all-out set look like? He would get 10 reps, reach muscle failure, and then do drops.
Look where the weight ended up, at the top of his head. The top of his head. As a bodybuilder, you don't want to go that high because that's endurance. That's sarcoplasmic. That's glycogen. That's endurance. That fatigues you. You want to go partially up and then you want to go down. Allow the weight to drag your bicep downward. You want it to drag. So that's why you're able to go heavier. You can't go so heavy if you're fucking dropping the weight to your forehead. You understand me? Pulling it to your forehead.
Sets or rest pause. So he would stand there and try to do 3 or 4 or 5 seconds between reps and then try to do another rep, taking it beyond failure. Or strip weight off and then continue the set. Starts like strip a full plate off and keep going. And reach failure with that.
What a waste of whatever he's doing here is wasting his time, man.
Right? These intensity techniques.
Yeah, sure, Blaha. Yeah. You're big, you're massive, bro. Yeah, stick out your 12-inch arms, 12.5-inch arms, yeah. You have no shoulders, no arms, nothing. You're wasting your time, man.
That is what he means by one set. Did anyone out there understand how
Blaha's just fat, man, taking steroids.
insane a set of 8 is with a 405 on a strict barbell row?
Yeah, how insane is 8 on a strict barbell rule of 405? Yes, Blaha.
Okay? Does anyone understand that he would have gotten bigger had he just done the 3 sets of 8 and stopped also? I'm not saying he would have been as big as he was. He would have grown from that. He would have grown from that.
No, he wouldn't have grown from that myofibular growth if he didn't get an adaptation, but he would have grown from that had he gotten more glycogen to, for every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water down between skin and muscle into the muscle to get these glyco muscles, these sarcoplasmic muscles. Yeah, Blaha.
All right. He would then proceed to do the next exercise.
Because again, he's injecting wasting drugs in him, wasting hormones so you don't waste away. So they're preserving this energy. The more energy you eat, the more it shall absorb into the muscle, giving you these sarcoplasmic muscles. But as far as building myofibular growth, it's based on an adaptation. No adaptation, no myofibular growth. It's really simple, bro.
In the same fashion, whether it was a lat pull down, or he really apparently liked like the pullover machine, right? He loved that thing apparently, where you go to a dumbbell row. Okay. Then he'd do this for like 4 exercises for his back. He'd even do like some deadlifts, like as a finisher sometimes. He'd do the same thing, do like drop sets on a deadlift the same way. Right? Take big heavy weights. A lot of times you do them on.
See, Blaha admits it. Bodybuilders take big heavy weights. They lift heavy weights for repetitions. That's what bodybuilders do.
This machine though. Okay. If I recall that, he was big on that, like the deadlift and the Smith machine after the rows and stuff. All right, same thing though. He would do like a drop set on the Smith machine with like, whatever his heavy weight was, 500 or 600 pounds or whatever for 8 reps. And do 8 and then go to like the 10 and then do a drop set. Strip weights off and strip all the way down. And count that as 1 set. All right, those are what Dorian means by 1 sets. We're talking 15, 16 work sets per muscle group with 3 to 4 sets that are all out crazy balls to the wall like that. The rest of them were still work sets by everyone else's standards. That's not low volume training, guys. That's 15, 16 sets of muscle group. Okay? There's your context. Dorian didn't train low volume. He trained crazy intensity, but his volumes were not low. They were really closer to what a lot of bodybuilders still do to this day, is moderately high volume.
No, he trained for, sometimes he would train for adaptations, and sometimes his training was sarcoplasmic. He switched between the two. When he got an adaptation, he knew what it was. And then when he didn't get it, it would be sarcoplasmic. It's kind of obvious. And in that session, if you did not get an adaptation, then you got sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, providing, of course, you're eating carbohydrates on artificial diet, which these bodybuilders do. They all eat artificial diets. You understand me? They're all eating carbs, artificial diets. They're not eating just animal products.
Volume. Okay? Understand that. So when people have these discussions, this is what they need to understand.
Even look at him. He's pushing the weight. They're pushing. You want to be stretching. You don't want to be pushing. You want to be stretching eccentrically.
It was not Minzer's pure system. He got a lot of that from Minzer with that stuff, and that's why he called them warm-up sets, because he talked to Minzer.
See, he's building nice muscle there, sarcoplasmic. Push, pump more, pumping. All these people that are doing concentric work in the gym are pumping. It's associated, concentric is associated with endurance. It's endurance lifting. That's what that is. And you're pumping. And I can prove it because if you run up a stairwell, that is concentric, running up the stairwell. And so it exhausts the fuck out of you pushing upward, going upward. Now, when you're running down the stairs, there's less energy that needs to be used, but there's more stretching on the legs because they're bending when they're running down the stairwell. So they're causing these micro breaks. They're causing micro injuries to the muscle fibers. So they'll be able to grow bigger and stronger. That's the adaptation process. Get it, dude?
He liked Mentor. They knew each other quite well. You know, he was his greatest protege. But again, Dorian didn't just come in and do a set to failure. His warm-up sets were insane. They were big, heavy weights for a lot of reps. So don't let people tell you that. But see, he still insists that was one set because in his mind, it was. Because that was the mindset Mentor gave him, that if you didn't reach failure, it doesn't count.
That sounds so dumb. That is like the dumbest shit I ever heard. If it didn't reach failure, it doesn't count. Yeah, but you could be doing concentric work. You reached failure of fatigue. You got fatigued. If I run up a stairwell in the concentric movement, right? Huh? I reached failure when I reached, I don't know, the 18th floor. I failed because I'm exhausted. What did I build there exactly? What did I build? Oh, I don't know. I know. Muscles, right? But how about if I run down the stairwell? Can I run down more stairwells? Here's the thing. Can I run down more stairs than I can climbing them? Of course. Want to know why? Because I'm using less energy. I'm not an endurance athlete. I'm going down with gravity. Gravity's pulling me at the same time, and I'm going down the stairwell. I can go down.
So even if it was a set that is for a normal mortal, we're like, dude,
I can go down more stairwell than I can go up. That's all. You get the point.
there ain't no way. There's no way somebody's doing that. No, that's just a warm-up because he had a rep or two left. He could have done a little more, so it's just a warm-up.
You say so.
Also keep in mind, people say, but that seems crazy. Yeah, but being a champion requires you to be crazy. You think you win the Mr. Olympia by being sane? Normal people don't do that. So yes, it was extreme. It was extreme. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that.
It wasn't that extreme, man. Blaha does know what he's talking about. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends. Like, subscribe, support the channel, share the video if you liked it. Blaha doesn't know what he's talking about.